So hi, today the main topic is the DNS with the browser. Um, the reason why this is kind of is important because when your interviewer tells you to um, tells you to explain the the process that I mean like sometimes the interviewer asks you to what happened the user hits or you hit like URL in the browser in the using like Google Chrome or Safari. And in this explanation, you might think about using the DNS concept to explain the server or whatever stuff. So let me just try to recap those kind of thing in this video. But next video, I'm just gonna deep dive into DNS first. So when user, so let's say this is the user and this is the browser. The browser is the application. So the Google Chrome is a multi-process application. It has a lot of process. When the user trying to type some kind of thing in the search bar, in the search bar, there's gonna be um, and there's gonna be some kind of thread is gonna be going because even this typing something in the browser in the Google Chrome requires some thread or process. And right now we are using search bar, so that's gonna be using browser process. And inside browser process, UI thread is gonna be using it. So UI thread is the main thread of the browser process. So so UI thread is checks is your search bar is URL or search query. Example, you might hit you might you might say what is browser or so that's gonna be search query, normal search query, or example.com, that's gonna be your URL. So URL thread is the one who parse this kind of text and this thing because it is URL or search query. If it's URL and when the user hits enter, when user hits enter, so there's gonna be like the network is gonna be doing it. So inside browser process, there's a network thread. So what does network thread does? It it tries to find the IP address of this URL. The reason why it has to get some kind of IP address is because the basically example.com is this it's actually the website. Well, it is actually URL, and that has to be hosted in some kind of whatever server. And normally the website is hosted from the static server, AWS or Cloudflare pages. And when you're trying to give requests to this server, so when you're trying to ask for the request, this server responds with the HTML and CSS and the JavaScript. The question is that it has to be find the location to hit a request, but we didn't even ever visited into this server, so you don't know location. So so let's recap. So we are using the browser and we commonly use the Google Chrome. And in the Google Chrome, when you're trying to type some kind of text in the search query, search UI, the browser process UI thread is being done. It trying to parse your text and it check it is URL or the search query. If it's URL and if you type enter, the network thread inside browser process is the ones who's doing the network thing. Because the reason why it has to be done with the network is because your target, the URL, has to be if it's like safe server, if it's like already if there's a server, um, and you have to give a request, and it will send back to you the HTML6 JavaScript. Since this request records that the server location, but if you don't know because you never visited, so network thread is also the one who finds the IP address this server. So, but the question is, how do we do it? How do we use network thread to find the IP address? So this kind of really focus on the main topic of today. It's called the DNS lookup. In the browser here, actually there's a cache on it. Where's the drawing of the cache? Let's find the cache. Yeah, here. So in the browser there's a cache. So which means that if you have ever visited some kind of other website, there should be cache on the IP address and the domain. And first thing it has to do is there's a cache that has the IP address. If there's not, it goes to the DNS reserver. So DNS reserver, I think this drawing is more nice. It goes to DNS reserver that is there's any cached value or not, because inside DNS reserver there's a cache of the IP address. If there's no DNS reserver, goes to the TLD, top level domain system. It's kind of root of the DNS. It's not really kind of very it's kind of really root of the DNS. It doesn't really have the IP address of your website. What it does is it navigates the next second DNS. Next part is it goes to DNS, but it checks, but that has some kind of the hint, not hint, that related to your URL name. Example, your URL could be we just say is.com. So after we go to visit the DLD, we go to the DNS that has the group of .com. And after that, if there's no something else, the IP address, we have to go to the more specific DNS that has, or example.com. If there's IP address found there, we go back in the DNS server, and you have to store in the cache, and you sends back to the browser now, and now you're able to send a request to get the resource, which is the HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Right, I'm just gonna copy paste here. Yeah, this part. So here's this is really kind of simplified, and this source is from the Google documents of how modern browsers doing it, but I found that there are lots of missing links. So example, what is this kind of secondary DNS code, and what's happening under the hood? What's the DNS names of it? What is and it was like N server, server name. Yeah. What is NS, and what is CNAME? What is txt, what is wildcard, and there's lots of things inside DNS, but I didn't study, and I never know it because I never had this necessity of like deep diving the domain name system. But right now I just studied, so I'm just gonna take another video that explains about this kind of stuff. So this is it. Have a nice day. See you next time. Bye bye.